Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you guys. Today, I have an amazing guest who, again, linked up with on LinkedIn, and his profile was extremely impressive, and I wanted to have him on the show to help you get inspired, because this guy has created such a brand for himself, such a business of himself. When I was going through some of his photos, and I was just like, wow, this guy is truly doing his thing. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ryan Pyle from Ryan Pyle Productions. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be on the podcast, and it's great to be able to talk about my story.
Awesome, man. So let's dive in, dude. Let's get into it. So you've created this business, you've created this brand. I want to know, and I'm sure our audience wants to know, like, why and how?
Why and hell, yeah. I started a long time ago. I kind of got hooked on wanting to live a different life. And when I was 22, I graduated from university, and right away I moved to China. And I just thought that would be a crazy thing to do. And I wanted to live in a different part of the world where people don't speak English, and kind of try to find myself there instead of staying in North America, because I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. And once I got there, I don't know, it's just all these different, parts of your brain start working. And I got really into photography and writing, and I worked for the New York Times for almost a decade covering China. And then moved into television production about 8 years ago. And then we specialize in making adventure travel content all around the world.
Now, are you always like an adventurous kid?
No, actually not at all. So I played Division I basketball in Canada at the University of Toronto. And I tell people this, I had no life from the age of 8 to the age of 22 because I was practicing twice a day. I was playing on 2 different teams. And then when I was in university, it consumes you. So I always tell people that I had no interest. Being a high level athlete, you don't become a well-rounded person. You don't have a lot of interests outside of sports. So I didn't know that I loved adventure. I didn't know that I loved writing and photography until my basketball career ended. And then I took the chance and went to China. And then all of a sudden, I had all these interests. I had all this stuff I was kind of curious about and wanted to learn about. And that kind of led me to this whole career.
Oh my God. I want to unpack that real quick for those that are watching and listening. That is huge because, it took a drastic change for you to actually see a bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Until your career changed. And so that's powerful because what I see is the spinning wheel, the hamster wheel syndrome. A lot of business owners, they think that, this is it for them. This is all they know. This is all they're going to be good at. This is it. I've been there. When I started my career as a designer, I was designing 20 hours a day, and saying to myself, once I got to about 31, 32 years old, I was like, is this what my career is going to be when I'm 40, 50?
Yeah. I
got nervous. Right. And so it took a drastic change for me to wake up and be like, shit, I don't want to do this when I'm 40. Like there's got to be a different way. And bam. So great point. Great point. All right. So now you're traveling the world. You're in China. You're open. The Pandora's box has opened for you, right?
Absolutely.
So now where's the story go from here? I'm excited.
The story is an interesting one. So I got really interested in writing and photography, and I started working for the New York Times, Time, Newsweek, Forbes, Fortune. I was covering China. I was traveling every week. I was meeting people. I was loving it, and I was really building a brand as a storyteller, as a journalist, and working on this. And then, of course, at the height of that part of my career, and I say that part because it's kind of over now, and I've moved into television, but that photography and writing part of my career, that really came crashing down with the financial crisis in 2008, which decimated the publishing industry. So from 2001 to 2008, I was, working for the New York Times. I was loving life. I was, at the top of my game. And then the financial crisis killed that part of my career. And then I had to retool again and say to myself, I want to be a storyteller. Printed publishing is not the future. how do I still travel? How do I still tell other people's stories? And then I thought, television. So I moved into television, created my own production company, and now I produce and direct and present my own shows.
Oh my God, I love it. So again, super, super awesome stuff here. You basically asked the right question and you got the right answer. You know, I'm not a big woo-woo guy, but I've started to study some spirituality stuff lately. And if anybody gets a chance to read that book by Pam Grout, it's called E2, E squared. You have to check that book out. But she says in one of the chapters to do exactly what you did was ask the energy, if you will, or ask the world, like, what? Like, what is it? And you did that. And that's powerful, because I always say, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? And I think this was so smart, because you saw something gave you the inclination to say, television, video is the wave of the future. It's where trends are moving towards. I need to jump into that jet stream, if you will, and let it lead me to wherever. So this is awesome stuff. So you cycle twice. You get crushed by the well, let's say you get out of your basketball career and you're like, shit, this is it. Like, now what? Right? You figure it out. Then the financial crisis comes, wipes you out. You got to get back on your feet. I love your tenacity, dude. You remind me a lot like me. You get back off your feet.
Yep. And
now you create this video production company. So
yeah, and I wanted to tell stories, and you know, while I was a photographer, and I love travel, and I love trekking and climbing and camping and being outdoors and being in China, traveling through Tibet, being in the Himalayas. You know, you love the outdoors, you love travel, you love adventure, and I thought that this is what I wanted to make television shows about. And I thought that I could make, you know, really authentic, honest television, and that's what I tried to do. So my first television show, I actually enlisted my brother, and we wanted to ride motorcycles all the way around China. And the journey was going to take 65 days. It was about 14,000 miles. And we were going to make a 6 or 8 part TV show. So I thought, okay, this is going to be my first project. And naively, I just wrote to National Geographic, Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, you know, all the big channels, and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Let's work together. And everyone just said no. You know, like, have you made a show before? No, but I was a photographer, I was a journalist, and they're like, yeah, but TV is a different animal. And it is. And I just thought that, you know, if I had a good idea and, you know, I could play off on camera, that we could make a show. And absolutely everyone just stomped us into the ground and said no. Corporate partners didn't want to sponsor us because they didn't think we would finish the journey. Broadcasters thought it was too risky because we had never made television before, and no one had ever tried a project so ambitious like this in China, which is difficult to film in. But so my brother and I decided to fund it ourselves. And we did it. We did 65 days around China. We started and finished from my home in Shanghai. We went all the way to the border of China and North Korea, the border of China and Pakistan. We rode motorcycles all the way up to Mount Everest Base Camp. And we actually also set a Guinness World Record for the longest motorcycle journey within one country without backtracking or overlapping. And we made a 6-part TV show for Travel Channel, and they eventually bought it after we finished it, when they approved the quality.
Well, first of all, congratulations, dude. What a awesome story. So, my God, I see a lot of metaphor here.
Sure.
I see a lot of metaphor here. You like climbing, you like traveling, you like reaching the top, if you will. And I feel like that has really driven your career as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very entrepreneurial.
Yeah. And like, listen, I like to travel with my wife, but like, I'm staying at the Ritz. I'm not driving a motorcycle around China, you know? And so I give you so much props for that, and like courage. Like, that takes a tremendous amount of courage to do, which leads me into this topic, or I should say the segment of the show that I'm really going to start to cement and make a real part of the show, because I like to freestyle a lot. Like, I didn't tell you much about the show at all. I just said, let's get him on here and keep it real. And that's my style. I mean, that's what brings out the emotion and real, the reality and the truthfulness of my guests and the show itself. But I want to know, so you get smacked around a couple times in life, right? And now, I don't know, maybe imposter syndrome starts to kick in. The focus, the mission starts to get a little cloudy. You're starting to get a little weak in the knees, which as entrepreneurs, if we've been here for more than a year, we all know we feel that at some point. What were you telling yourself? I just didn't want to let negativity define me. And, when you try to do new things, you're obviously swimming upstream and it's uncomfortable. And I, when we talked, my coach, when I played basketball, back in the day, we always talked about playing outside of our comfort zone. We always talked about, achieving, discomfort as a way of being successful. And that kind of stuff has stuck with me because, if you play as an athlete in your comfort zone, you're just going to get destroyed by the other team. You have to reach a new level. And that hurts, you can't play at that level all the time. And that's kind of what you always strive for. And I just always believe that, if you're going through a really, really ugly period, you just got to kind of keep going. I think there's a great Winston Churchill quote. It says, if you're going through hell, keep going. And I've just kind of taken that, to heart, because anything worth doing in life is going to be hard. Anything worth doing in life is going to hurt. And if you're hurting right now, you got to keep going, because it means you're going in the right direction. Because to do anything interesting and new and unique means that you're going to have to, rub a lot of people the wrong way, and you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to fight to find your voice and to get people to hear it. And I just wouldn't let myself quit and wouldn't let myself be defined by other people's negativity of me trying to raise my status in the market of, adventure travel and television production. Oh, dude, I love it, man. That gave me the chills a little bit, man, because, failure is not an option for me. I've never made it an option. That's why I'm here 10 and a half years to still standing strong and building this brand to what I wanted to build it to and for. And which leads me to my next question is, what's your mission, man?
My mission is to, just to live a useful life. I just want to, I think that one of the things that defines us is our relationships with other people, and you want to be useful to other people. And, if I can make TV shows and inspire people to want to go out and see the world, or want to go out and learn more about a country or a culture, or even just learn more about themselves, because, a lot of these journeys that I do offer a lot of self-reflection. And I love getting out in nature and disconnecting from my phone and my email. And I learn a lot about myself. And if I can instill any of that on other people and give people a sense of adventure or a sense of confidence or a sense of wanting to, be a more complete human being, then that's amazing. And maybe that's my role now is to kind of have that life and to be able to go out and come back with these stories, because they definitely empower me. And if I can lend that to others, then I'm being useful.
I love it. It's that sense of fulfillment. It's that sense of worth. And that really aligns with what we do here at Unique Designz, and how I established the brand doctor brand is I wanted to help other people too. And I want to help entrepreneurs and businesses that want to help other people. Because when I looked at my client roster, I said, I'm looking at the different businesses and I'm going, wow, this is no coincidence that they all are geared and positioned to help people in general. And that's very fulfilling for me. And it's just been my mission for years. And I said, as long as people are going to need, business owners, entrepreneurs are going to need guidance, support when it comes to building brand identity, brand messaging, all of that stuff that God gave me the talent to do. I never went to school for this stuff. I taught everything on my own. And I realized that like, that is truly a God-given talent. Like to have this eye and to have this creative side. I can't even draw a stick figure, dude. But when you when you get into the design side of things, it's like it's a whole different planet and world. But so not to go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
The questions that I have for you as we wrap up this episode is, what are 3 things? You're very adventurous.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of folks out there are willing to take that adventurous step. And for somebody that's on the other side, right, looking over the fence at thousands, if not millions of people across the world that are living in this 5x5 square of a backyard with nothing but some sod, right? That's how I'm picturing them.
Sure.
What can you tell them for those that are willing to jump the fence? Maybe they're up a couple of steps on the fence. Maybe they're climbing up the fence. They're peeking over, but they're just not ready to put that foot over and go over. What can you tell those folks?
I think, probably the most important thing is make unpopular decisions. Embrace that, because anything you do in your life that you really want to do, there's going to be a lot of people around you who don't like that. And I've started to believe that the more people around me who are like, "Ooh, I don't think you should do that," that kind of makes me feel like it's a better idea. Because the people around me, they're also caught in this, over civilized society that we live in. They're caught in the cubicle syndrome and the routine of life, and they're happy with that, and I'm happy for them that they love that too. But if you want to change and you want to break away from a change, and you start talking to people who are happy with that current life, then they're always going to disagree with you. And at the end of the day, you need to know yourself. Make unpopular decisions. Again, look for discomfort. Look for it. Strive for it. Search it out. Find something that makes you feel really, really, really miserable and pursue it, because you're going to get something from it at the end. Even if you're not successful, whatever that end goal might be, the process of going through that will just make you a stronger human being. And that's, at the end of the day, that also makes you, a better person. And it also makes you more useful to the people around you. You just can't stop, man.
That's so true. It's so true. I mean, I resonate with so many levels of that. There's a lot of things that I have no business doing, and I tend to do them anyway. My wife sometimes wants to kill me.
You know what? I studied political philosophy in university. I mean, I didn't go to journalism school. I didn't go to school for television production. I'm like you. I kind of self-taught my way through it. And you know what? It's been upstream and miserable for a lot of it. But I still wake up every day and I love doing what I'm doing. And, last month I climbed Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in South America, at 23,000 feet. And we filmed it in 4K for one of my TV shows. And, I get to do these amazing things. And the only way that anyone's going to let you do amazing things in life is if you're willing to suffer for your passion. Because everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to own a successful business. But it's really hard. And there's sleepless nights. And you're going to have to make unpopular decisions with your friends and your family. But if you want it, you got to go through all of that pain, because that's how you are successful. Success isn't 9 to 5 and having like the perfect wife and the perfect kids. It's going to be trying, and you have to have a good support team around you. But there's going to be really unpopular things that you're going to have to do along the way. And if people don't support you, then, and you still feel strongly about it, then you kind of have to still move forward. And those are tough days, man.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it.
Those are tough days.
Dude, Brian, I I got so much out of this. I'm not going to lie. Like I just got, there's so many, I'm taking notes here faster than I could write here, but like, playing outside your comfort zone, being useful to other people, making unpopular decision, knowing yourself, suffering for your passion is one that really resonated with me. And, listen, there goes days where, I say to myself, what am I doing? Am I staying on my mission? Am I getting off track? Something doesn't feel right. Is this where I want to go? And all these things, all these questions. But then I come back and I always wear this bracelet. I haven't taken it off for 2 years. One of my buddies, Colby K, big shout out to Colby. I wear this bracelet and it says, he gave it to me and he said, remember why you started.
Yeah.
And I've never taken it off. And I've been stopped on airplanes and trains and subways and people seeing that bracelet and they like, I like that. They just point at it. I like that. And it brings me back to ground. It brings me back to the middle and it reminds me, shit, no, you're on the right path. Just stay focused, understand why you're doing what you're doing. And there will always be light in front of you.
There will. You know what? So I have this theory, like, in my business and in my life, I get one positive response for every 9 rejections. And so I go out on a daily basis, and I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I have 4 meetings ahead of me today. I go out looking for 9 rejections. I will pitch stories. I will pitch television shows. I will pitch corporate partnerships. My goal is to try to get at least 1 or 2 no's a day, because I know if I can collect 9 of them, the next one's going to be a yes. Right. And, I'm looking for them. Like and you know what, if you're not trying to reach up and people are going to push you back down, but if you're not trying to reach up and get those no's, you're never going to go through that glass ceiling. And Hollywood has a glass ceiling. Every entrepreneurial business sector has a glass ceiling. You're trying, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to break into something, which means you constantly have to reach up and pull yourself over that wall. And that you're going to get slapped back down by the big boys. And if you're not reaching every day to get slapped back down, then you're never going to get over the wall. And so I have this thing where I'm just constantly looking for rejection. Because I know, and being rejected hurts. You've got an ego. You think what you do is good. You think you're working hard at it. Other people, maybe not, they don't care at all. But if you're reaching up to try to pitch those people and you're getting shot down, you're doing the right thing. And that's what I mean. You have to strive for that discomfort. You have to strive for those rejections. And the more people you meet, you never know what's going to happen. When you walk into a meeting, right? And I just find that some people, they get so afraid of rejection that they just stop reaching. And that's literally the worst thing that can ever happen. That's going to stall your business. It's going to stall your dreams.
Afraid of getting slapped. Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
When I played basketball back in the day, the best games we played was when we went in as the underdog and the team that we were playing was like the best team in the league, or they had just won the championship, because there's no moment where you're more loose and more ready to just fight because there's no expectations on you. I try to live that as part of my daily life. I have meetings in LA with people that probably I shouldn't even have reached out to, because they're they're in a different stratosphere. But I love meeting these people and trying to tell them about what I do and trying to see if we can collaborate in a creative way. And a lot of them shut me down and be like, what are you even doing writing me? No. Or like, they send me to their manager or whatever. But again, like you got to freewheel it. I'm doing something interesting, and 1 or 2 out of every 10 people will also find that interesting. And I'm just going to keep reaching out and talking to people. And it's been great. I've had some great collaborations with people I found in that way. And I've got a ton of rejections, and I'm loving every one of them.
I love it, man. You have such a great attitude. And for those of you guys that are watching and listening, I think you must have some sort of that, some piece of what Ryan just said inside of you in order to live as an entrepreneur. and really dedicate yourself to your brand and your business. So, Rye, I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your busy ass day, because I know you're just a go getter. You're nonstop, and I really admire that about you. For those that are watching and listening that want to follow you, want to learn more about you, where can we send them?
So, Instagram, Facebook, at Ryan Pyle, RyanPyle. Twitter, at Ryan Pyle again. My website's ryanpyle.com. The television shows are Tough Rides and Extreme Treks, and they're available on Amazon Prime and iTunes and Vimeo. And if anyone wants to, say hello, just drop me a note and I'll get back to you.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, listen, again, I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your story, sharing your wisdom, sharing your insight. I got a lot out of it. I'm sure my viewers got a lot out of it. Real quick, I just have a couple housekeeping things. If you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout yet on Facebook, go on Facebook right now, search the Brand Doctors Hangout and come into that group. There's about 400 of us in there right now, just all helping each other, trying to build our brands up and giving each other strategies and experiences to help us move forward. And if you haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, or haven't shared it with a friend or a colleague, please do. And I appreciate and I thank you in advance for that. We're heading out. I hope you got some value out of this episode, guys. A lot of great nuggets out of this one. I'll catch you on the next episode. And remember, always keep rocking. Talk to you soon, guys.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.